Next up is a food brand inspired by recipes handed down from generations.
Hola, Sharks. My name is Hector Saldivar, and I'm from Tiburon, California. I'm seeking $500,000 in exchange of 5% of my company, Tia Lupita.
Oh, God.
Raise your hand if you like to eat tacos. Come on, we all do. No tacos for you, Damon?
I hate tacos.
Give some super claps for Super Hector. Woo! Welcome, Hector.
Thank you so much, Joe. I'm so excited to be here, man. I'm a fan. You know.
Oh, thank you.
I like to say to everyone like that you're the Roger and Ebert of Shark Tank, man. Everybody's waiting. Give for your critics review, thumbs up, thumbs down. You know, it's amazing what you've built and accomplished in your own way, man. I'm a huge fan for sure.
Oh, well, that means the world coming from a super entrepreneur like yourself, but also just in general, because it's all about teaching and learning for me, and that's I'm always learning because I don't do CPG products. I've never done CPG product in my life, indirectly. I had some experience with it because my mom worked for a company for like 20 some years, FFE. So for doing frozen food express is what that stands for. So like indirectly, I grew up with it on my mom's side and on my dad's side in the trucking industry. So, but not so much on the food side of things. So I really appreciate that. And it means the world to me that my message is getting through to people and it's getting through to the right people and bringing people together.
Absolutely, man. And we entrepreneurs talk well, especially at least in my space, right? In the food and beverage and CPG, right? Like we talk a lot. We share our pains, our successes. You know what works and what didn't. You know, try to avoid other people to fall on the same mistakes, etc. And of course, you know, if you are one of the lucky few that gets chosen to pitch on Shark Tank, you know, we all talk, and the common denominator is Joe Pardo there. You know, it's like, and make sure you follow Joe Pardo so that, you know, he does really good reviews and focuses on what a shark really wants. And how the entrepreneur should really reply or pitch. So it's amazing. Thank you. No, you're integral in that for us as well. You know, to know how to pitch.
Say it louder for the people in the back that tell me to shut up and play the video, because look, everybody has their own opinions, but I wish people would. I wish everybody would find the thing that lights them up, and brings light to other people, rather than trying to pretend like I really care what their negativity is bringing to the table. But at the end of the day, I always say I appreciate you, and I appreciate you watching and commenting and engaging, even love me or hate me. I don't know, man. I'm just trying to be a positive force in the world.
Exactly. No, there's for sure. It's hard to keep it positive all the time, right? You also have to give some tough love, right? And that's part of the business, right? You cannot. I had a boss that used to tell me you can't hit 1,000. Like that's not statistically possible, right? And so you have to also be open to receive the criticism, right? The tough love, like I like to say.
No, absolutely. And I love that, you can't hit 1,000. I always tell people, look, if you hit 3 out of 10, you're in the Hall of Fame. So, you ain't got to hit every one doesn't have to be a massive hit. And you're not going to hit every single one. So, you can still be a Hall of Famer with just hitting 3 out of 10.
I'm good with that.
So let's jump in. Now that we've had enough love that I would normally receive at the end of the video. So I appreciate you wanted to jump right in, Hector, on that. Let's get right into how were you feeling when you were walking down the hall here?
That was one of the most nerve-wracking moments of my life, for sure. And by the way, like that shirt that I'm wearing, I was not supposed to be wearing that shirt. It just I had the Shark Tank producers, they're really good, and they had vetted me, my outfit, for the pitch many times. But since it was through Zoom and whatnot, I guess that was not uh, it was not an issue for them. But when I showed up to the stage wearing, I was wearing like a little plaid shirt, almost like this one, and it was showing some wavy pattern in the camera, right? And so
like mine is right now.
I get.
If I make mine real small,
yeah,
you'll be able to see and this isn't as bad as some checkerboard and stripes do not do well on cameras.
Exactly right. So they quickly realized, like, no, man, that shirt's not going to work, and they sent like an assistant producer to Target to get me a shirt, and that's that's what you see on stage. So right off the bat, I was not feeling comfortable. Like, I'm wearing this shirt that I've never worn. It's like, is it like I barely had time? Like, does it fit well? Like, does it look good? Like, it happened really quickly, right? And so, but yeah, I was just like, yeah, it's showtime, man. We got to do this, and let's go.
So how did so you wanted to have a shirt out, like an outside shirt on, like, because I feel like watching it back, I'm just like, you're covering your logo.
Yeah, well, I guess that's I think, just being 100% honest, I think that's part of a little bit of my insecurity, right? Being a big guy.
Big guy right here.
So man. It's just like, I the shirt. I think those T-shirts always look great when you're kind of lean and muscular. You have some pectorals to show up. So I mean, I again, that's part of the insecurity thing. I'm like, all right, let me cover this, but let me show part of the logo too. So yeah, that was kind of my approach.
I totally understand. As like I said, as a guy who's been anywhere from over 300 pounds down to 180, and back and forth. I know, I get it.
The insecurities never go away. By the way, I'm kind of once you say that, I've been in the same journey, right? Like up and down. Like I like to say, that's why I made the cactus tortillas, right? Because I'm always on a diet. And so I'm always up and down, and even on your down, like when you're like a svelte, you're still insecure, right? Like you still see yourself as a big guy. So yeah, I think it's psychological.
I'll tell you, even as coming down the last time from like 310 or something like that down to 240. I still have trouble, and that was from August of last year, getting rid of my like double X size clothes, because I'm just like, well, it's kind of comfortable to wear it around the house or whatever, but it's too big, and I'm just like, I'm scared I'm going to need it again. Like,
And so yes, and by the way, also it works on the other side. Like your skinny clothes, like your mediums and your large are like, well, I'm not gonna throw those away, give those away, because I will get there. I will eventually fit on those, right?
1,000%. I have a pair of shorts that my aunt gave me. They're like expensive, like stretchy shorts. Yeah, like they look like nice, like blue khaki-esque shorts, but they're meant to be like in the theme park, right? They're meant to have a lot of rub and movement and things, and they're stretchy. But the biggest size I ever made was like 38, and even when she bought them for me, I could not fit into them, and only after getting the illness back in August and losing a ton of weight was I able to actually get into it. But I've kept them for, I don't know, it's probably been like a decade now, that I've had these shorts that like I can't fit in, but I know I'm going to get there, and I have.
Absolutely.
It's a constant thing, man. My heart goes out to you, and I know. So I appreciate you being candid with us, and there's somebody else out there.
Yeah, I like to say it's a little tidbit, a little a known fact, what was happening there. I love that what you're asking there, and so great opportunity to just disclose that. How imagine that hallway is long and there is no music. I'm sure everybody that you've had on your show has told you that there is no music. There is like no dun dun. It's quiet. You're walking, and then you just stand there in front of the sharks, for a good 90 seconds doing nothing.
Yep, just so they get all their angles, just like the MySpace. They get all the MySpace angles.
Yes.
So going in, how did you formulate your valuation? Because 500,000 for 5%. I mean, David was the Robert in this episode. Where Robert's always like, "Wow," he was like, "Ugh."
So so I actually came in as at a discount, right? We're raising money at a 50 million valuation. So we're doing approximately $5 million dollars in revenue, and so that was like at a 15 million cap, that was like a 3x multiple, I think, for raising money, which I think it's pretty standard, pretty middle of the road. So we got some of the producers like kind of coaching us on that as well. Like, yeah, you want to come in at a discount. Being that said, we still were like offering a high ticket with low equity, right? Like, so 500K, it's already a high ticket for the shark, and only offering 5%. It's like, oh, I don't wake up for less than 10%, right? You know what they say, or it's like, I need to wet my beak, Mr. Wonderful. And so, but that was the only, that was, I kind of guess I mean, for me, it was like, I couldn't find another solution, because then it was like, or 100K for 1%, and that somehow sounded worse, right? So, so yeah, that's kind of how, and yeah, I mean, in hindsight, and giving credit to the producers who ended up being 100% right. That ask did hindered me to not get a lot of offers, right? It definitely reduced a bidding war there between the sharks, and so but at the end of the day, did end up getting an offer, which is huge, which is the validation we are all looking for, and then the tough negotiation, the back and forth, which was so interesting, man, because they do a fantastic, like the producers are experts in movie magic. I like to say, it's like they've edited and cut it in a way that it's so suspenseful, and so like the build-up is there and what's gonna happen and all that. And there's even some contentiousness that Mr. Wonderful is like, well, that's the only offer you're gonna get. That's my one offer. But at the time, I at least I didn't feel it was like that. I think it was more, at the time I felt it was more conversational, more like, well, how about if we do this? And then I think the other piece of validation that I like to talk about and disclose is, while I didn't get multiple offers, you saw the other sharks rooting for me. You saw the other sharks jumping in, helping me try to get the deal, right? You got Mark Cuban saying, hey, negotiate this, and then Barbara is like, well, if this is a line of credit, why don't you ask for $1 million instead? And then everybody, even Damon John jumped in and to help, and so I think that's another positive takeaway for me that was validating.
Yeah, oh, it definitely is validating. They, when the other sharks feel confident in your ability to warrant $500,000 is a lot of money, and it's in the Shark Tank scale, as we say here all the time on the show. Anytime you get over $250,000, it gets really hard to get that deal, any kind of deal done.
Yeah, and then and to your point, the producers, put us in a room and kind of coach us on the valuation and the ask and all that stuff, and they repeat this as like, hey, sharks are also like you and us, and they get affected by the economy, right? And if the economy is up, they're doing great. But if the economy is down, or there's a recession or looming a recession, they start to feel that too, and they have to be careful with their money, this and that. And at that time, when we taped, we taped September of 2022. The warnings of the recessions were there. Interest rates were really high. And so, yeah, there were some economic factors there that were really also looming and present.
Oh, well, absolutely. I mean, when you think about all the different businesses that they have that they're invested in or going to be invested in, if they spent even just, I say just, but $200,000 per deal, like. A couple of those deals go south. Like, investors, you expect like 9 out of 10 to go either like flat or
down. You're shooting for one, right?
Yeah, exactly. And to go back to your wet the beak thing, like it absolutely is that way, because like if they wanted a 5% return, I can get that and more right now in CDs. Like they could just lock the money up and they're gonna get their return. Like they're gonna get a return at that point anyway. They won't get to go on the journey with you, Hector. And to learn more about the CPG space, right? Because there's always something to be learned. But they also just have the money. Like it's
absolutely.
I think having that opportunity to have them support you in that episode, I think is so critical. And then on top of that, going and actually getting a deal, but going into the tank, did you have a shark in mind that you wanted to secure a deal with?
You know what? That's a really good question. I think I don't know. There is this romanticism somehow that he has built over the almost 14 years of the Shark Tank, of making a deal with Mark, right? Mark is kind of like that, the golden shark. I knew that Mark didn't do a lot of food or CPG deals, so my expectations were really low there. I honestly thought maybe Barbara was going to be the ideal shark. She's more into the food and beverage and brand building space. Definitely was, not expecting an offer from Kevin O'Leary at all, for sure. I was really, my expectation was that I'm going to get trashed somehow. This is, poo-poo on the platter or something like that, or whatever. What he says, right? Stuff like that. So, that's the beautiful thing is of them not knowing you and you going there with some expectations and things changing. That's why the show has been there so long. It's they've done a fantastic job. Number one, casting the entrepreneurs and the products, but also keeping it hermetic from the sharks and vice versa. So when Mr. Wonderful starts saying, hey, and by the way, they edited. There's only like 10 minutes that they can air, right? So I'm there for an hour, and we're talking and talking. So, just hearing Mr. Wonderful saying, "Hey, I live 100% grain-free diet. I tried all types of grain-free chips. I love to snack, and this is the best tortilla chip or the best grain-free chip I've ever had." like that was like, oh man, that I'll take that. If that makes it on the air, I'll just take that, even if I don't get the deal or anything. And so that was super comforting, and for me, just like one of the high points of my life. Again, it's how can I say this? I'm a little sad that they didn't show more shark reactions, because it was one of those, because you've seen it in other episodes where you get the sharks, you start to walk and steal the samples of each other because, oh, this is so good, and oh, let me try it with this and that. And so that was happening in front of me, and I was like, I was like the feeling of accomplishment, and like my product is good, was through the roof.
Well, yeah, I mean, it has happened, and I think it's always interesting when you see they'll like them talk down something, but then they're still sitting there eating it anyway. Like they're talking down the deal, not necessarily food, but like they're still sitting there munching away. Like,
yeah, absolutely.
Take them free samples.
Yeah, I know. I mean, and Joe, there's so many factors too here, right? Because I mean, I think a lot of people don't know, or I don't know if you talked about this in your show, in your program, but the sharks are there from 9 a.m. in the morning all the way till 7 o'clock at night. They see 12 pitches, and each pitch is lasting an hour, right? It's and so you don't want to be the last pitch, like like that's one of the things that I started to get nervous when the shirt, like, because I was like the third pitch of the day, and I'm like, all right, I don't want to be. So let's get it quickly, guys. I don't want to lose my spot. And so I think I was, from being the third, I ended up being like the fifth. And so we was right around the smack of the middle of the day. So I think they were already hungry, and so that also helps, right? For sure. They're human beings, right? They're not robots.
I've said that many a times on this channel, that they are human beings, and they, like, especially after the FTX thing or the Voyager thing or any of the things that they invest in or they get involved with, like, they're humans too. They're not infallible, and I don't think that they should necessarily be put up on a pedestal any higher than like anybody else just because of money, right? They've made good decisions. You can make good decisions too. They might be lesser amounts of money worth of decisions, but that's how you get there in the first place. It's just constantly making good decisions. They might not be the best. Again, 3 out of 10 put you in the Hall of Fame. So whatever,
absolutely.
I mean, some people you could hit horribly, but if you pitch, you can still get in the Hall of Fame. So
it's like in golf, I have a saying that's like, hey, par doesn't ask how it got to par. Like you can slice one up the tee and then, chunk it to the front of the green and then, fluff it up. But if you if you make the 40-foot putt and it's a par, it's a par. So it doesn't matter how you get to par. You get a par.
I got Happy Gilmore flashbacks going on right now. It doesn't matter how it gets there or what tool you use, as long as it gets there. So preparing for Shark Tank, how did you balance that with your, rapidly growing business, a life? I don't know if you have kids or married or whatever, but like, how are you balancing all that with preparing for Shark Tank? Because it's a gauntlet.
Oh, yeah, gauntlet is I think it's a good description, a good terminology there. Yeah, obviously I'm married, 3 kids, business, growing. My dad had literally passed away a month ago from the moment we aired, and so a lot of hard decisions were being made. My mom lives by herself in Mexico, and so thankfully I have 2 sisters that were able to be with her during this time period. I obviously, of course, I did go to Mexico, but I couldn't stay as long as I wish I could. So I was just there, just like for the intense part of the process. But yeah, all that was happening, man, and so I will. There were a lot of sleepless nights for sure. A lot of knowing the numbers. But as an you know as an entrepreneur and a business owner, the whole thing about knowing you should know your numbers already. Like it's one of those things that I kind of like. I don't understand when other people kind of go. Maybe they and it could be a valid thing where you get like a block for sure, and you space out. That's 100% valid. But for the most part, I was like, I know my numbers. I'm the business owner, so I'm reviewing this all this time. So I was like, not worried about me not being able to answer any of the financial economical questions. I'm pretty, I was pretty set, where we're going with Lupita, what we want to be, the upside. So, I took it as that. It's like, hey, you've pitched Lupita before to other investors. You've raised money. This is no different, except there's TV cameras on you, and 9 million people are going to be watching. So yeah, that's
yeah, no pressure. It's all good.
No pressure. What I didn't know was about that Target shirt. That Target shirt threw me off. No,
yeah.
So dude, the Target shirt and Damon not liking tacos threw me off. I don't know if you remember. If you remember the that was kind of like a what? Like when I do my pitches, like, hey, sharks, raise your hands if you like to eat tacos. Raise your other hand if you like to eat clean, healthy ingredients, and then it's like try to touch your ears with your elbows. It's a skit to I always love to start a pitch with some humor because it engages you right away, right? But Damon just like, I don't like tacos. It's like in my head you're like the scratching of the like what? Who doesn't like tacos, man? Like I don't trust anyone that doesn't like tacos. So
no, it's surprising. I don't know. I guess he had never mentioned it in the show before. I mean, I'm not a Shark Tank historian. At least I don't consider myself one. But I don't think I ever recall him saying that. And they had the well, maybe he wasn't there for the blue tortilla one that was last season.
Oh yeah, there was some guys that were doing.
Daniel was there. Maybe Damon wasn't.
Lubetsky was there. Daniel Lubetsky was there. Yeah. Damon was not. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just it's just one of those things that's very surprising when people don't say that they don't like taco. Well, wait, he left, or maybe it was with chips.
No, that's the second arm is like raise your other hand if you like to eat clean, simple ingredients. And so he's raising his hands on that, right? But you only see him with one hand up while everybody is holding two hands.
I'm like, hey, how many other hands can I put up? Because I
mean, come on, tacos, man, they're delicious. Like what taco truck run over your puppy that you got traumatized? No.
No, I don't know. I mean, even my son loves tacos, and
so
he's 5.
and so I don't know if it's true or not, or if it's just conspiracies that I've heard, like they do that on purpose to throw you off, like they this is like So anyways, like I don't know. I feel that it was a coincidence, but I've heard from other entrepreneurs, it's like, oh yeah, something really weird happened to me just before I was pitching, and they do that to throw you off. And so, because for me, for example, it was the shirt, right? Like, oh, you're gonna present with that shirt, and then the taco thing. I was like, that's coincidental. I don't know if they're doing this on purpose. It would be, I don't know. So, anyways, I'm just repeating what I.
Well, hold on. Let's roll with that for a second, because an interview that hasn't been posted. It may or may not be posted by the time this goes live. Somebody had said to me that like right before they were getting ready to walk out, somebody like is like a security guard or something, like a doorman, just like walks over and then starts just talking about anything. I don't know. It was something, and the story went into like about how people died or something, and yeah, dude's like, whoa, like I'm trying to like walk out to the biggest moment of my life today. You're talking about people dying. I don't know.
That didn't happen to me. So just before you go out, they put you in a. So you have your own green room, like in a separate like a building, and then once your time is near to present, they bring you to the actual building where the stage is, and they put you in a tiny room. Cold, I remember it was cold, and I guess it makes sense. So that, well, exactly, and so that you're not going already sweating, right, or with sweat stains and stuff like that. So it's cold, and then it's time, blah blah, and then they put you right outside the doors. The doors. They're not. They look like automatic, but I guess there's someone just like pulling them, right? Like they're still using rudimentary technology there, and so. But I don't remember. I don't remember anyone talking to me. I mean, if it was, I blocked it, or I decided not to remember it. But I don't remember anyone talking to me just when I was outside those doors. So
I mean, maybe that's just one of the different tactics, like you said, like the shirt thing, coming up. Like they should have known. Yeah.
I hear this a lot, man. I hear this a lot. I hear this a lot about doing other entrepreneurs, because believe me, you do your homework before going to Shark Tank. You try to reach out to as many entrepreneurs that have made it to Shark Tank, just to go to see about the process and what to expect and all that. And if I talk to 5, I think 3 mentioned to me something like they'll do something to throw you. And for me, it was, I don't remember, but for me, it was this, or for me, it was that. And so, again, coincidental, right? That my shirt, all of a sudden, my shirt was not doing it. And Damon John not liking tacos, like, come on, that's the one that is the worst.
Hey, we as professional super entrepreneurs, problem solvers, need to be able to be prepared for anything. And you just had to do it in front of 9 million people. That's
well said, my friend. Yeah, that was amazing. Yeah, well said.
So how did you wind up getting connected with Shark Tank? Did they reach out to you, or did you apply?
Yeah, surprisingly, it was one of my teammates, one of my work colleagues, who said, who approached to me and said, "Man, I really think you would do great in Shark Tank, man." And I'm like, "Oh, I really think so. Thank you, man. I appreciate it." And it's like, "Do you mind if I submit Lupita for Shark Tank? And if we get selected, you'll go and pitch?" And I'm like, "Sure." Sure, Cam.
Sure,
like, yeah,
sure,
yeah,
why not?
yeah, sure.
If
you have the time to fill out the paperwork, and somehow 30,000 applicants a year or something like that, I've heard 30 to 40 or something, and we get selected, I'll go and pitch. And lo and behold, yeah, that happened.
So were you a big fan of the show prior to getting to go?
I was. Actually, yes. I mean, I consider myself a OG fan, for sure. And so I have them. I record them in my DVR, and so since they had the tiny set, and there was this. Yeah, I don't remember the other guy who also kind of worked in
Kevin Harrington.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
He was only in season 1 and 2, I think.
2, I think 1 and 2 for sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, for sure a fan. And so and as a fan, you know their personalities, you know their shticks, you know their wording and all that stuff. It's like, I remember saying to Mr. Wonderful, like when he was trying our hot sauces, I was like, Mr. Wonderful, this is like being in the Chevalier de Testament, this is like a wine progression. You have to go from green sauce all the way to chipotle or something like that. And so they appreciated that I kind of knew their mannerisms and their shticks.
Yeah. No, I mean it definitely goes a long way. I mean, as it does with any sales, understanding the people that you're talking to and being able to relate, to that kind of, to that level of nuance. Because like, unless you've watched a lot of Shark Tank, you might never even heard them say that, or if you've heard it said, not even know what they're referring to. Because I think it's only been brought up like one time in one episode, in one pitch, that like that's what it actually is. Like that's like it's a group or whatever that that get together. So you wouldn't know that unless you really know the show.
Exactly.
You would just be like, oh, they're just saying something like cheers.
It's you're right, but I think they've only mentioned it once. That the Chevalier de Testera it's a like a wine group, and they just taste wines and all that stuff. So yeah.
So speaking of that and bringing it back to Mr. Kevin, what has your deal closed yet?
Yeah, so great question. And immediately after the pitch was done, we stretch hands. He says, "Congratulations, not truly this amazing product." Blah blah. I go back to the green room. Immediately, greeted, with his social team. They're wonderful people, man. And then I fly back, and a week later, we start talking with his CEO, the CEO of O'Leary Ventures, and his staff. And amazing. I cannot say, anything bad about them. They're wonderful guys. So we started talking, and we came to a realization that the deal that was struck on air was a little sharky, very one-sided. Line of, it's a line of credit, so I'm paying you back at a high interest. In addition, I'm giving you equity, non-dilutive, and so they were like, "Yeah, we totally get it." So what would be a good counter offer or counter proposal? And so, I went back to the drawing board and, bounced it off with other advisors that I have that are really good doing, investment vehicles. And actually, we're since then till today, I think today we'll be signing the term sheet. I don't know if I can disclose the terms and all that stuff, but
you don't have to go that deep.
But yeah, exactly. But just like to inform that, yeah, we are moving forward with a partnership with Mr. Wonderful, but it is not what was in the air. It was modified afterwards, and it's going to be beneficial for both. Yeah, so it's more of a middle of the road.
It was not a great deal. I mean, it
wasn't. I mean, exactly. And believe me, it was still a negotiation. It was still but again, it was once the whole dust settles, because that's how I feel. That's how the best description I can say about pitching in the Shark Tank is you're pitching in a sandstorm. It's like, everyone's yelling at you at the same time. They all want airtime, right? And so, and me, the lights, blah, blah. And so once that dust settles, you're still rattled. And isn't that like, what did I do? Did I, I don't
Am
know.
I married now? Like what just happened?
Exactly.
Like,
I don't know. I don't know if people have shared this with you, but there's a therapist that goes to your
Mhm.
green room. Yeah, there's a therapist that goes to your green room afterwards, and just she wants to make sure that are you okay? Are you fine? Like that's I mean that's pretty cool that they're taking care of you that way as well. But again, from the business side and moving forward the deal, yeah, it's I think we're moving forward. We will have Mr. Wonderful in our cap table. I think there he brings tremendous value. He has a great platform that'll help our brand and exposure. And so and again, it also if we continue to raise money, having him again in the cap table gives other investors that ease of validation.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, the 500,000 line of credit that's non-dilutable. I mean, you could get a lot. You can get a loan for 500,000. I'm pretty confident you'd be able
Yeah.
to do that. So it's, like you got to bring something else to the table that's not like, hey, I'll pay you back at 12.5%. Like, yeah. So I'm glad that you've been able to work through and are working through towards getting a deal
Oh,
that
yeah.
that is more beneficial to you and the business,
Yeah.
and in the long term. Now, once you did get back from your taping, how did you prepare the business for the potential to get to air on Shark Tank? Because obviously, like
Yeah.
you have a product that like people could go online and buy, or go to the store and buy.
Yeah.
What was some of the things you did in preparation leading up to it?
Yeah. So number one, when you get a notice that you're going to be that your episode is going to air, you only get 3 weeks to prepare. So that's not a lot of time. But we did what we could. It was like a perfect storm because also at the same time we are building orders because we got into Walmart. We're building orders because we got into Publix, and so it was like, oh man, like now we have to prepare and build up to this. So, bouncing ideas with other entrepreneurs. They're like, hey, make sure that you stress test your website, right? Make sure you stress test your website. You don't want to do your website to crash. Make sure that you make the shopping experience as easy as possible. So we did like a Shark Tank favorites. Just click a button and you get the products that the Shark Tank loved and so that. And so from there on, it went gangbusters. From when we aired, and the next 2 to 3 days, we sold online a third of what we had sold the previous year. So it was crazy. And then from the retail side, we're still collecting the consumption data, retail data, Nielsen and Spins. But from some vendor portals accounts that we have access to, like Whole Foods and such, we're seeing growth in that time period of 60-70%. So yeah, no, the impact that Shark Tank has on your business is unmeasurable. It's millions of dollars worth of marketing that you're getting for free.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, regardless of if you get a deal or not. To me, I think trying to get a deal is better for like replayability, because CNBC is like all weekend long just running reruns of Shark Tank, which is great for that aspect. But then just to be able to say, like, as seen on Shark Tank, like that is a brand in of itself that enable, like, it's almost like like a golden ticket to just, oh yeah, I know what that is. Though I did meet somebody not too long ago that had no idea what I was talking about, and they were in business too, but just had no idea, which was very surprising to me. Now, Hector, did you have a watch party? What did you do? How did it go?
No, I didn't have a watch party because, like I mentioned, they give you 3 weeks notice, and we had already. It was my episode aired during spring break in the West Coast, and so we had already planned this family vacation in Mexico, and so I actually did not watch the show live. I only watched snippets of what people were posting on Instagram or Facebook, and so I had to wait a couple of days when I got back because it aired, I think, April 14th or something like that, which is a Friday. We're flying back on Sunday. So once I got back on Sunday, I was able to watch the show. But no, I had some team members that were trying to organize and a lot of friends were doing watch parties. I was living vicariously with their Instagram posts.
Wow. Yeah, that does kind of stink that you weren't able to do that because of the timing and only having 3 weeks to plan for it. So
I mean, and Joe, I think on the watch party front, man, I'm just gonna add this. I think it's a little, you have to have some sort of courage to have a watch party because you don't know. I know you know your end result, right? And you were there, blah blah. But you don't know how you're going to get portrayed, right? You don't know how they edit. How is it all going to be edited and all that stuff? So it's like watching yourself for the first time. I think you would need, first, to digest it by yourself, and then it's like, okay, everybody, come on, it was okay, we survived, or something like that, right? At least, that's how I felt.
I've heard that. Sometimes you just don't know. I question whether I would want a watch party or not, just because I like to watch and digest. And I don't want to. It's like watching the Super Bowl, right? Like I'm not watching it for the commercials. I'm watching it for the game, and truth be told, like I could really care less about the commercials. So like watching the game with a bunch of other people who only care about watching the commercials. It's funny to watch, like the room is like so loud, and then all of a sudden the commercial goes on and it gets silent because everyone wants to hear what the commercials go, what it's going to be. Yeah. Meanwhile, I can't hear what's going on with the game because of all the other noise around it. And so like for me, like I don't know. I think one example that we've gotten here on the channel was somebody watched it in a different room than everybody else. Yeah. So then they came out afterwards. It was like, hey, like we're here.
Yeah, absolutely. Right, because it was hard. Because you can shoot out or they're like, if you get, edited, in an unfavorable way, which, it might as well, you think you crushed it and but you get edited in an unfavorable way, you'll be the villain of the pitch, right? And so, so if you watch it in a separate room, that happens. You just don't go out. You just stay in that room.
You get the exit door.
Get the other. Start flicking the light from the other room so that other people leave.
Yeah. So how did you end up coming across my video? I know in the beginning you were talking about stuff, but how did specifically you come across?
So believe it or not, now that I'm recalling it, I watched my episode through your YouTube because you posted it right away, right?
Yes,
so once and so YouTube doesn't have restrictions of like country, right? Like, oh, you're in Mexico, you're gonna watch this video, blah blah. And so I remember yeah, later that night, I came to the hotel room after we had family dinner, and I YouTube Shark Tank and lo and behold, I saw that was the first I saw myself. I remember this. I saw my pitch. Obviously, because you pause it and then you talk and then you pause and then you talk. So I saw that, but it gave me an idea that I did okay. I like to say I went swimming with the sharks and came out alive.
Yeah, you absolutely did, and soon to be with a deal here.
Yeah.
So I'm glad that and that's one of the reasons I shoot my videos the way I do, and I shoot them as soon as they air, because
Do you
I
want the fresh reaction?
Well, fresh reaction. I shoot them like I don't pre-watch them or anything like that. So like I want it to be as raw and as authentic as possible, which sometimes comes out lengthy because I have a lot of streaming thoughts coming out and things like that. But for the most part, like that's all the things I'm saying is like literally off the top of my head because I'm I pull up the website and stuff before, so I kind of look it over a little bit, but it's not too in depth. And then I just go right in so I can get the video done usually before it ever airs on the West Coast. So even if you were home, my video would have been up probably before you could even watch it on the West Coast.
Yeah.
And then I shoot them a certain way so that they can be in every country. Because if I didn't shoot it the way I shoot them, they would
restrict,
be limited. They would be
got
suppressed and limited even further than they already, from what I've been told, are. Yeah. So, Hector, growing up, what was your childhood dream?
That's a good question. I think my dad was a doctor. So I think I wanted to be a doctor. I did, try to go into the medicine world. I did study, tried to see if I was doctor material. And no, I'm not doctor material. But I think that was kind of my dream. I never thought myself as an entrepreneur, but I guess being a doctor is kind of like being an entrepreneur. So.
Yeah, well, I mean, especially if you had your own practice and had promoted and all these other aspects, I mean, it's less scalable without you recruiting a lot of other doctors to like do something at the practice, than selling one bag of chips and a bag of chips and a bag of chips and a bag of a bag of a bag of a bag. It just starts to scale up a lot faster. But that is cool. What kind of medicine were you thinking about getting into?
I was thinking maybe anesthesiology.
Oh, okay. I feel like you'd be a fun anesthesiologist.
Yeah. Well, my dad, that was my dad's specialty, and I always admired his calmness and cool, right? Being an anesthesiologist, you're gonna always encounter patients that are freaking out, like, oh, is this gonna hurt? Oh, this is that, and so. I always like that. I always try to think of myself of trying to keep myself a little bit of a cool, calm body, and I think actually that's what a lot of feedback people gave me from watching the show at Shark Tank is like, man, you really kept your cool, man. You really kept yourself at ease, even though when Mr. Wonderful was pushing back on the offer and the negotiating, and I'm like, well, that's pretty good. I'll take that.
Yeah, you definitely did. So before we wrap up and tell everybody how they can go and get their chip on, what does the future of the business look like?
Yeah, I mean, we keep growing. Right now, we are in close to 7,000 stores, which include Walmart. We're in 9 regions of Kroger, 11 divisions of Albertsons. We just got into Publix. We're in HEB in Texas, and we're in 4 or 5 regions of Whole Foods. So, you know, our focal point right now is kind of to streamline the distribution, right? Because we're in 7,000 stores, but our distribution is a little all over the place. We have 13 SKUs, so we want to make sure that those, you know, 13 SKUs, or at least the best sellers, are available in this store. So that's our focus. We want to, you know, invest in marketing and tools that help us increase household penetration and improve our velocity. So we want to build a very solid base, and then from there start replicating that as we continue to grow more doors. So that's the future. We're interested also a little bit in food service, you know, with hot sauces, and so that's also a possibility. But yeah, ideally, one day, you know, Tia Lupita, we want to be the number one Mexican food brand in the United States.
Woo! Well, I am sure you are going to be well on your way as you continue on your journey, because you're just killing it, man.
Thank you, man.
You're so welcome. Please tell everyone how they can get their Tia Lupita, right?
Yeah, Tia Lupita. Tia Lupita is yeah, Tia Lupita. They can definitely go to our website, tialupitafoods.com. We're also available at Amazon. And, you know, also our website has a really cool store locator where if you input your zip code, or even if you input the product that you want, it'll tell you if it's near your neighborhood or how far away is it from where you live. So yeah, so, you know, and again, like I mentioned, we're in 1,000 Walmarts, you know, Kroger's, Albertsons. You'll be able to find us there.
That's awesome. Hector, thank you so much for taking the time to be here. I really appreciate it. And you're welcome to come back and give us an update anytime you're ready for it.
I would be glad to. This was a most enjoyable conversation, Joe. I'm a big fan, and I also wish you the best as you continue promoting us in the web world.
1,000%. I appreciate you, Hector, and I appreciate you making it all the way to the end of this video, this interview. If you haven't seen Hector's pitch, click on up here. If not, I'll see you in the video down below. Take care and go be super.